that's not how chrome plating's done. Let's get back to reality and see how it's really done. After receiving my part, a worker assesses and quotes it before bringing it into the work area, where another worker will begin the various steps of preparation. The first step for this particular part is media blasting. A high-pressure spray consisting of fine media is used to ensure any debris is removed before further steps are attempted.
This is a fairly basic shape. Really easy to access, it's good. I'll let you do a little repair. There's a little break right there in the pot metal. So we'll actually have to repair that.
Depending on the severity of damages, a worker will contact the customer to discuss how they'd like to proceed. After media blasting, my part continues on to chrome stripping, rinsing, and nickel stripping. These immersion stripping methods require varying times based on factors such as the base metal and the thickness of existing nickel. My part being both pot metal and having a large amount of nickel on it required 16 hours of passive nickel strip. This is the safest method available for stripping rare and irreplaceable parts. A second round of critical media blasting is required. It is crucial to remove any corrosion and oxidized metal, or plating will not stick. So far, my part has spent 45 minutes in media blasting alone. Warning: Van City Plating does not recommend that you attempt to reproduce anything you see here, and assumes no liability if you choose to do so. What you are about to witness is a master craftsman with more than 30 years' experience at his trade. A polisher begins the job of preparing the surface for plating. He will remove surface inconsistencies, often bringing down the heights in the metal in order to reach the lower depths of the pitting. What often seems to be overlooked and even underappreciated in the plating process is the immense amount of polishing, buffing, and metalwork required. The quality of the chrome here is all in the prep work. Not unlike a good paint job or the need for a house to have a solid foundation. These men, these polishers, and their skills and secrets passed down over decades and generations are what makes quality chrome possible. These master craftsmen are the true unsung heroes of the hot rod and restoration industries. If any custom work or repairs are required or have been requested, now is the time that they will be addressed. The history of plating isn't an easy one to pin down. As I understand it, it goes as far back as the Egyptians. Luckily, in the early 1900s, there was a group of intellectual men who were perfecting the process of chrome plating, mostly for the purposes of hardening and protecting decorative and/or machine parts. Nickel, which for all intents and purposes looks like chrome, is far too susceptible to rust and won't stand up to the elements. It would therefore tarnish in a very short period of time, if not for it being protected with chromium, or as we refer to it for the purposes of this video, chrome. This was and remains to be an excellent solution, as the chrome is almost clear and is a very hard and durable product. Prior to the advent of chrome, oil was often used on a regular basis to coat the nickel surface. The surface of the base metal is made as smooth as possible using a variety of tools and techniques by a metal finishing expert. My part spent an hour and a half in this process. When the plater receives the part back from the polisher, he removes any debris and polishing compound before beginning the plating process. Rubber sleeves are slid over the studs to protect the integrity of their threads. My part is again wired with copper in order to provide electrical conductivity in the various plating tanks. Part of the pre-plating procedure has various steps that, when simplified, consist of cleaning and acid etching. A heated cleaner removes all oils, compounds, and various surface oxides in preparation for etching. The acid etching tank contains a blend of various acids. This further removes surface oxides and ensures the part is now ready for plating. You are witnessing an electrochemical reaction of copper strike on the base metal. This is one of the few dramatic visual cues that amazing things are happening. The copper strike provides surface protection against the following plating tanks. This was another 20-minute process. The acid copper tank is now used for depositing soft copper onto the base metal for further perfecting of the part's surface. A part can often remain in this tank for long durations. This depends on how imperfect the part's initial condition was. It is then polished again, at which time it's determined more copper is required. This was another 45 minutes. My part continued to be cleaned, etched, coppered, and polished until the highest level of possible perfection was achieved. Mind-blowingly, it was then sent through the pre-plating process yet again, but this time in preparation for nickel and finally chrome. My part spent an hour in acid copper, and it was necessary to do it twice before it was completed. Some parts require this copper plating be done many times in order to achieve the high level of perfection that Van City plating has become known for. At this point, an incredible 23 hours have been spent in order to prepare my part to be quote-unquote dipped in nickel. The bright nickel tank deposits bright nickel over the copper. Nickel is the reflective surface that many people think of as chrome. My part spent 30 minutes in this bright nickel tank. Finally, after 23 and a half hours of work, my part goes into a trivalent chrome tank for 4 minutes. It's removed, rinsed, dried, and ready for delivery.